All right, welcome back to Math is Easy, step by step. This is a part 3 video. I'd like to show you examples of what I talked a little bit about in that part 2 video. And so let's just jump right on here, get on down to it. Here we go. This symbol right here, it means angle, right? So anytime you see this and I'm talking about it, or you see it in any of your practice problems or assessment, that just means angle, okay? And so again, you have two parallel lines. I know that because of the symbol here. These two little arrows mean these lines are parallel. And again, these angles and a lot of the rules I'm going to go over with you only occur. They only happen when you have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. If these lines are not parallel, these rules I'm going over with you, they do not apply. I guess with one exception, any two angles on a straight line would add up to 180 degrees. So any two angles on a straight line would be supplementary. That would work. But I guess I'm referring to the congruent, which I'll go over in a moment, congruent angles. That only applies when we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal line. So you can see here angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Sometimes in some diagrams you'll see they'll start the 1 here where you see the 2, and they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But either way, it doesn't matter. The rules and everything I'm going to teach you applies equally. I just started my 1 right here in this particular angle. So again, we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. It creates something special with these angles that you see here. Okay, let me just jump right on here to it. Let's get to it. Prove it, as my old grandpa he used to say. So I'll try to put that diagram back towards the end of this particular part 3 video, and we will go over these examples together. All right, so when you have two parallel lines are cut by a transversal line, they form what's called congruent angles. Now, it's not congruent, is not quite equal. They're not exactly the same. When you say equal, it means they're exactly the same. But anytime in measurement, anytime you measure something, it's never going to be exactly the same. There's always a minor, teeny tiny part that's not going to be exactly the same. So here's the example, right? Congruent angles in measurement that are equal to each other in measurement, right? For example, angle 1 is congruent. Say that 5 times fast. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 4, right? And what do I mean by congruency, right? So it's not exactly equal. There's a little equal sign in the symbol. But the little wavy part above means it's almost equal, but not quite. We call that congruency in measurement. Okay, and with angles, we're measuring these angles. So angle 1, for example, I'm making this up. Let's say it measures 45.321 degrees, right? It's congruent or almost exactly equal to angle 4, but it's not exactly equal. So we say it's congruent again. Angle 4 measures 45.331 degrees. So they're both 45 degrees. Can you see how they're both kind of equal there? But then 0.321 is different than 0.331. But they're both 45 degrees. We can say they're congruent, almost equal in measurement to each other. So I'm hoping that makes things crystal clear for you if you've been confused with that in the past. So again, I'm highlighting these. Angle 1 is congruent or equal to angle 4 as far as measurement goes, right? They're not exactly the same, but they're congruent. 1 and 4 congruent to each other. Angle 1 is 45 degrees. Angle 4 is 45 degrees in my example. All right, so these are the angles that are going to be congruent to each other. Again, you can stop, pause, rewind, watch this video again if you need to. I'm going to go over these, and I'd love to show you the diagram above as I go through these. So anything highlighted in green is congruent to each other. So again, example, angle 1 is congruent to angle 4. And angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. And angle 5 is congruent to angle 8. And angle 1 is congruent to angle 8. And angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. And angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. Right? So as you can imagine, all of these angles are highlighted in green. Okay? So what does that mean? That means angle 1 and angle 5 are congruent. And if angle 1 is 45 degrees, angle 4 is 45 degrees, what is angle 5? Right? Angle 1 and 5 are 45 degrees. Angle 8 is also 45 degrees. So each of these angles are congruent or equal to 45 degrees. Okay? And if angle 1 and angle 2 add up to be 180 degrees, a straight line, and you're given 45 degrees for angle 1, you could figure out the value of angle 2, 3, 6, and 7, because these two angles, 1 and 2, have to add up to 180 degrees. And all these angles highlighted in yellow are congruent to each other. So we'll be going over that. If that didn't stick, we're going to go over that here in just a few moments in the continuing part 4 and part 5 and maybe part 6 videos. All right, so let's continue on. So again, we're talking about angles that are congruent or equal to each other. So let's take a look down here. I'm going to raise it up just a little bit so you can see there. All right, here we go. Angle 2, and that, again, anything highlighted in yellow is equal or congruent to each other. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 3. And angle 3 is congruent to angle 6. And angle 6 is congruent to angle 7. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. And angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. And angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. So again, if you need to stop, pause, rewind this video for clarity, no problem. Help yourself. That's why I'm making these videos, so you can do just that. So again, everything highlighted in yellow is equal to each other. Angle 2 and angle 3, congruent. Angle 3 and angle 6, congruent. Angle 6 and angle 7, congruent. Angle 3 and angle 7, congruent. Angle 2 and angle 6, congruent. Angle 2 and angle 7, congruent. So if one is 45 degrees and 1 plus 2 equals 180, if I subtract 45 from 180, angle 2 has got to be 135 degrees. 135 for angle 2, 135 for angle 3, 135 for angle 6, 135 degrees for angle 7. Okay, I'll be going over that a little later in the continuation videos if that didn't quite stick. Again, I'm just introducing this stuff to you. Try to remember, math is easy. Take it step by step. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your gifts, your tips, your donations, your stars. Thank you. Please like, follow, and share these videos.